topic for the day is preposition. If you look at this word, we have two words joining this. We have pre and we have positions. What does pre mean? It means before. And position means when you place something somewhere. And prepositions are the words which show positional relationship between the subject and the object. So if we talk about it, where is preposition used? There are certain functions of prepositions. Let's discuss these. The first function that it follows is function of place. And it says preposition tells you about the object and the place of an object. For example, if I say he is standing between two buildings. So the position of he is between. So here between is a preposition. Similarly, around, about, across, all these are prepositions which play the function of place. Next is the function of manner. And function of manner says whenever a task is performed, how is it performed? For example, if I say the task was done with neatness. So neatness is used along with the word with, and with performs as a function of manner. Next is function of time. Now preposition tells you about time. How? You can place at, you can place on, you can place since, for, during, from. All these are the prepositions that tell you about the time or tell you about the verb performed. Next is the function of cause, and it says why a verb was performed or what is the reason behind what something happened. For example, if I say she is suffering. She is suffering from what? From fever. So from is a preposition that tells you about the verb and the cause of that verb. Similarly, if we move further, we have function of possession. And if we talk about possession, it tells you about the belongingness or the ownership of something. So if I say this car belongs to, so belongs to here becomes a preposition. Or if I say this is a pen of Reynolds, so of is a possession preposition here. So function of possession is also shown by preposition. And the last function that it performs is agency. Now what does agency function means? It means when something is performed, someone, that means a person, or something, that means a non-living thing, is used to perform a task. So with that, we can use with, in, or by, which will be used as the function of agency. For example, if I say the cake was cut by me with a knife. So here a task was performed. What was it? The cake was cut. And how was it cut? By me, that means a person. And with a knife, that means a non-living thing. Next that we have is types of preposition. And we have generally 4 types of prepositions, which are simple preposition, compound preposition, phrase preposition, and last is participle preposition. If we refer to the simple preposition, it means all the words that are used as prepositions. For example, we can say at, in, into, on, around, over, above. All these are simple prepositions. Now if we come to compound prepositions, compound means a mixture of something. And when a preposition is used with adverb, adjective, conjunction, all these words, then it is considered as what? As a compound preposition. For example, under, across, over, all these are what? Underneath, beneath, all these are compound preposition. And if we move further, we have phrase preposition. Phrase prepositions are always used in a group of words. For example, we have in spite of, we have on behalf of, we have according to, or we have in accordance with. All these are phrasal prepositions. And the last type of preposition is participle preposition. Now whenever verb's third form or verb's fourth form is used as a preposition, that is called participle preposition. For example, verb's third form is past participle and verb's fourth form is ing form. Whenever they are used as preposition, they will be considered as participial or participle preposition. Now we will discuss some important prepositions after we have discussed the types, functions and meaning of preposition. So there's one preposition we feel confused with, that is where to use between, where to use among and where to use amongst. So let's discuss between, among, and amongst. Now, can you tell me where is between used? Yes, you're right. Between is used when we have only two entities. And you have to relate, or rather, you have to show a positional relationship between two things. In that case, we use between. Among is for more than two. If you're writing something with more than two, then you'll use among there. Where is amongst used? Can you tell me where is amongst used? Yes, you're right. Amongst is also used for more than two. But then if among and amongst both are used for more than two, what is the difference between among and amongst then? The difference is amongst can only be used before a vowel sound. If the word mentioned after amongst or has a vowel sound, then what you do is you will place amongst there. Let's discuss some examples related to it. Now the first one is, my car was parked dash a truck and a bus. My car was parked dash a truck and a bus. Now here you can see I am telling something about my car, that this car was parked. Where? It was parked between a truck and a bus. So between, if I have to write, we'll write the word between by, because only two things are mentioned here, truck and bus. And if you have to show the positional relationship between two, then you use between. If I want to say, he has no one familiar dash the crowd. Now what does this mean? A lot of people were there, but he has no one familiar, which means he didn't knew anyone. That means you're talking about crowd, and crowd doesn't mean only two. Crowd means more than two. So what we'll write? We'll write among here. And why have we used among here? Why not amongst? Because the word used after it is in consonant sound and not vowel sound, right? Now, if I say, the sweets that he brought were distributed dash us. Now what should I write here? The sweets that he brought were distributed dash us. The sweets, which means a lot of sweets were there, isn't it? That means more than two we are talking about. That he brought were distributed dash us. Now can you see we have a word us which starts with a sound, and a is always a vowel, isn't it? So what we'll write here is amongst. Why? Because this talks about more than two, and moreover the word mentioned here is in vowel sound. Now the next is, what is the difference between at, in and on? Now see, at, in and on can be used for place and it can be used for time as well. So we'll discuss both the differences, one for place and one for time. So let's take this as place and let's take this in time. Now can you tell me where is at used when we talk about time? It talks about the precise time. Precise time, or I can say exact time is given when we use at. Next is in. Where is in used? When we have a period of time given. Like if I say he is coming in minutes, that means you have a period of time. You don't mention the how many minutes are there. In minutes means he is coming in minutes means he is coming lately. Anyway, last is on. Where is on used? When you have a perfect day or a date mentioned somewhere. For example, you can say on 23rd of this month or on Monday. So you can, if you have a date and a day in any of the sentences, you can mention on with it, right? Similarly, if we talk about place in terms, then at is used where we have what? Smaller place. If we are talking about small place, then we use at with it. If we are talking about comparatively bigger place, then we use in with it. And where is on used? Can you tell me this thing? Where is on used? On is used when you have to show the upper surface. Now let's take some examples. The first is, I will meet him dash 7 o'clock. First sentence. Next, I shall buy a car dash February. Next sentence. We have our test scheduled dash Monday. Or I can give you sentences like, she lives dash Karol Bagh dash Delhi. Or I can say, the pen is dash the table. Now, can you tell me what should be placed in these blanks? The first is, I will meet him dash 7 o'clock. Now here you can see you have a perfect timing mentioned. At 7 o'clock will be there. Why? Because I told you when we have precise time or exact time, we use at with it. Next is, I shall buy a car dash February. Now here you can see we have mentioned February. And February is not of 1 or 2 day. It's of 28 days and or 29 days, isn't it? So what we have a period of time. I can buy a car in any of these 28 or 29 days. So whenever we talk about period of time, what we write is in February, right? Last is, we have our test scheduled dash Monday. Now you have a perfect day mentioned here, isn't it? So what we can write is on Monday. Or in place of Monday, if I write, we have our test scheduled dash 24th of this month or 24th November. So what we can say is we'll write on there as well. Why? Because we have a date there, right? Next is, if we talk about small places, that is, she lives dash Karol Bagh dash Delhi. What should be placed here? Now see, she lives dash Karol Bagh dash Delhi. Now everybody knows that Karol Bagh is in Delhi, isn't it? So which is a smaller place? Karol Bagh, obviously. So what we'll do? She lives at Karol Bagh dash Delhi. Now what you'll do? In Delhi. Why? When we have small place, we write at with it. And when we have comparatively bigger place, then we use in with it. Now suppose if you get a sentence like, I live dash Delhi dash India. Now Delhi is a big place and India is a country. Now what will you write? You'll write in with it or at with it. Now see, when we have such sentences in which this type of sentence is there, I live in Delhi dash India. If I write a sentence like this would be incorrect. Why? Whenever you have two big places given together, in that condition, you cannot place in and in two times. What you do is, you'll just place in at the first and after that you'll just place a comma, right? And this will convey the same meaning. Why? Because both the places are big. They are not small. Delhi is a big city and India is a big country. So when we talk about big places, then we use in with it. And if we have both the big places together, then we use in, and along with that, we can use a comma there. Right? So I live in Delhi, India. Now the last sentence is, the pen is dash the table. If we're talking about the pen and the table, the pen will be on the table. Why? Because this shows the upper surface of something. That is why we have placed on. The pen was on the table. Now the third rule is related to agency. While teaching agency, I told you whenever we have a function of agency that shows a work is performed. And when a work is performed, it will be performed by someone or something. Isn't it? So we will bifurcate it according to agency function that either something is countable or it is uncountable. When we talk about the object who has performed the task, then what happens? Either it can be countable or uncountable. If it is countable, what we do? We can write either with or by. And when it is uncountable, we can only write in with it. Now, when do we write with and when do we write by? What is the difference between these two? See, when something is performing a task, that means a non-living thing is there, then we use with it. But when a task is performed by an agent, that is a person, then we use by with it, which means if there is a living thing, we'll use by. If it's non-living, we'll use with. And if it's uncountable, we'll use in with it. For example, if I say, he wrote a letter dash blood dash a feather. Now here you can see a task was performed. What is the task? He wrote a letter. And how did he write it? He write it dash blood and dash a feather. With the help of blood and feather, he wrote a letter. Now can you see blood is mentioned here, and blood is countable or uncountable? It's uncountable. So we'll write in with blood, right? Next we have is feather. Now feather can be counted 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count the feather. And when it is countable, we have two conditions. Either it will apply with or by. Now you know feather is countable. Moreover, it's a non-living thing. So what we do is we will place with it. So what is the correct sentence? He wrote a letter in blood with a feather. The cake was cut dash me dash a sword. The cake was cut dash me dash a sword. Now here you can see what is there. Cake was cut. The task was performed. Who performed it? Me. With what? With a sword. Now that cake was much big, so that's why I need to use a sword there. Never mind. The cake was cut dash me dash a sword. Now this was done through a person using a non-living thing, isn't it? So both are countable. When it's living, we'll write by me. And sword, that's a countable noun, but it is a non-living thing. So we'll write with it. So the cake was cut by me with a sword is a correct sentence. I hope you understand the meaning of by and with and in while using it with the agency function. Now the fourth rule is related to above and over. Now can you tell me what is the difference between above and over? Both show height, isn't it? If both show height, then what is the difference between it? Now see, if something is up and at rest, up and at rest, then you use above. If something is up and moving, then you use over with it. Fine. Now what is the difference is, there are some other conditions also where we use above and over. If there is a matter of coverage, then we can also use over with it. Fine. Now, apart from this, if we talk about the post or designations, then also we use it. Okay. We'll come to the exceptions in the last. Let's solve these first. Above and over. If I talk about the sky is dash us. Now can you tell me what should be placed here? The sky is dash us. Here I'll place above. Why? No matter where you go, the sky will always be above you, isn't it? So it is up and it is at rest. But if I say the clouds are dash us. Now clouds keep on moving, isn't it? They are above us, but they keep on moving. That is why we'll use over with it. And if I say I put my hands dash my eyes. Now here, what do you have? You have a coverage. What? You have covered your eyes with your hands, isn't it? So what is there? If you're talking about coverage, what we do is we write over with it. I put my hands over my eyes. Apart from this, we can also use above and over in different terms. How? If I say everything is over between us. So in this sentence, over does not mean coverage, over does not mean up and moving. It means everything has come to an end. So here what does it mean? Over means end. If I say Modi is above corruption. So what do you have? You have above here, and above does not mean that he is the head of corruption. Here above means he is an exception to corruption. He is not involved in corruption at all. If I say please contact on the above mentioned address. So here above does not mean that something is up. Here above means mentioned up. Anything which is written before something, that is here above what represents. That is it. So anything that is written before the line, that is where we define above, something mentioned before it. Fine. Now the rule that we have is just the opposite of what we have studied. We just studied what? Above and over. So the opposite of above is below and the opposite of over is under. As they show height, both of these show what? Depth. If we talk about below, as above had something up and at rest, below has something down and at rest. That means it's not moving. And if something is down and it can move, then we use under with it. Down and in motion. Again, if there is a physical contact between two things, then also you will use under. Physical contact between two things, then also you will use the word under. For example, if I say the ball is dash the table. Now you want to show the relationship, the positional relationship of the ball with the table, and you want to show that ball is down, somewhere down the table, isn't it? So what will you write? Can the ball move itself? No, it cannot move itself. That is why it's down and it's at rest. So what we'll place is the ball is below the table. Fine. If I write the shoes are dash the almirah. So if the shoes do not have physical contact with the almirah, then we use below it. But if it has a physical contact, then you can write under it, right? If I say the book is dash the pillow. The book is dash the pillow. Now here very clearly you can see that the book has a physical contact with the pillow, which means we will write under here. Why? Because if there is a physical contact, we'll use under, right? If I say the man is dash the tree. Now again you want to show the positional relationship of the man and the tree, and you want to show that man is somewhere down the tree, isn't it? Now here you have to see that man can move itself, isn't it? Man can move itself. So here what we write is under. Why? Because the object under the tree is in motion. It can move itself by itself. So what is the correct sentence? The man is under the tree. Now these can be used in terms of position and designation as well. Like, suppose there is an area manager. After that, you have a branch manager. After that, you have an office coordinator, isn't it? So this is the hierarchy that we follow. If I say the position of branch manager, the post of branch manager, can this move and go before area manager? Can the branch manager be above area manager? Can the post of branch manager be above area manager? No, the post cannot move. So if we are talking about post and it cannot move, so we'll write it cannot move. It's at rest. So what we'll write? We'll write below it. And if I talk about the person, suppose the area manager is Ritesh, then we have branch manager as Amit. So can Amit be promoted and made area manager? Yes, he can. Can Ritesh leave the job and go to some other organization? Yes. That means if we talk about the person present in that post, then it can move itself, isn't it? If we talk about the person present here, then he can move itself. So what we write here is under. So if I give you sentences like branch manager works dash area manager. So can this fact ever change? Can the post of branch manager go up area manager? No, it cannot. So what we can write is branch manager works below area manager. But if I say Rahul works dash me. So here if Rahul is my subordinate, he can change. He can resign or he can be promoted, isn't it? So what we write here is under. So below and under both are used to show something down, or under is also used for the physical contact. Moreover, it can be used with the post and designation of the person. Now the next is made of and made from. Now, can you tell me what is the difference between made of and made from? Now see, you know how to prepare a cup of tea. I hope you know, isn't it? Now, if a cup of tea is served to you, can you remove tea leaves, milk, water, sugar from it? Can you remove? No, you cannot separate it. That means when you cannot separate it, there is a chemical change in it which you cannot separate, then you use made from. But when you have only physical change, for example, if I say furniture is made of wood. Now, why have I used of there? Because wood will be wood even if it becomes furniture. Why? Because the shape and size of the wood will change, but the wood will remain there itself, isn't it? If the raw material that is being used remains there, then you use made of. But if the raw material that is used, it's mixed and you cannot separate it, then you use made from, right? So let's take the same examples. Furniture is made dash wood, or I can say the house is made dash brick. The cake is made dash flour, sugar and cream. Or I can write the tea is prepared from tea leaves, sugar, milk. So what should be the correct preposition to be placed in these blanks? The first is the furniture is made dash wood. Wood, the shape and size of the wood will change, but wood will remain there, isn't it? So there's only physical change. What we'll write? Made of. Next is the house is made dash brick. Now here you can see if you break the house, then also you will get brick only, isn't it? So there is again a physical change, so you'll use of with it. The cake is made dash flour, sugar and cream. Now if you have prepared, you've already prepared a cake, you cannot remove flour, sugar and cream from it, isn't it? Then what we do is made from. And similarly, the tea is prepared from tea leaves, sugar and milk. Why have I written this? Because you cannot separate tea leaves, sugar and milk once the tea is served to you.